Hey, 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 closed conference people, it is time, it is time, it is time. It is time for you and you and you to close like a champion on this year 2020, this new decade, the decade of you making the impact you were born to make in this world. Now, I know some of you are looking at me and thinking, what is going on? Okay, my name is Naima B. Robert and I get it. I don't look like your typical author, speaker or coach, but this is me all the way from the United Kingdom speaking to you, closed conference attendees, sharing with you the message on my heart. Now, I have a question for you. Who listening right now, who watching right now has written a book? Anyone out there? Okay. Now, who at the moment is planning a book, started writing a book, in the middle of writing their book? Put your hands up. Okay. And who's listening and watching right now knows that they have a book inside them and think and hope and dream that in the future they will write their own book? Now, if you are a typical audience, then 97% of you will have raised your hand in answer to one of those questions. And that's because writing a book, telling our story, sharing a message is something that seems to be deeply ingrained in us as people. And I know why that is. Every one of us wants to know that we are significant. Now, we already know because we have loved ones and we have people around who benefit from us and who need us and who reach out to us. But I know that every single one of you knows deep down that your story, your message was meant for a higher purpose. That there is a bigger impact for you to make out in the world. And so I guess my question to you is, if you haven't written your book yet, what's stopping you? Now, it could be time, it could be focus, it could be lack of clarity, it could be that you don't have the resources, that you don't know how to get started, and I get that. But if you're anything like the people I speak to and my clients, the one thing that is probably stopping you right now is the F word. Fear. Yep, I said it. Fear. Because writing a book and publishing a book and putting it out into the world is a statement. Let's be clear about this. It is a statement. It is a decision. It is you saying, I am prepared to be seen. I'm prepared to be heard. I'm prepared to lead. And of course, with that comes being prepared to be criticized, being prepared to be disagreed with, being prepared to be shot down. But that's what makes you special. When you step up to tell your story, to share your message, to share your expertise in a book, you are putting your hand up and saying, I am ready to lead. I am ready to be seen. I am ready to be heard. I am ready to fulfill my potential to make an impact in the world with people I may never meet, people I may never see. Not just them, but their families and their communities and their organizations, no matter what your book is about. And so I really want to kind of break it down for you in the short time that we have together, how to break through the things that might be stopping you right now. Because as you know, the title of my talk is Own Your Story, Change the World. So I'm going to break down those two aspects for you. But before we get started, I want to tell you a little bit about me and why I'm here and why I'm so passionate about this. Is that okay with you? I hope it's okay. Now, you see me before you, looking as I do, and I want to let you know that I didn't always dress this way. I wasn't always a Muslim. I grew up in Zimbabwe, in the south of Africa, and I grew up probably like many of you did, listening to Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, and kind of in the 90s and everything. I was on that. And what happened for me was that I had a spiritual awakening, and I decided to become a Muslim, and I started to dress differently. My lifestyle changed. My habits changed. The way I spoke changed. The things that I did for fun changed. But something else changed. Something else really fundamental, which I want to share with you. And that was that in the wider society, I kind of became invisible, because the stories that were being told about women who look like me and who dress like me were stories I didn't recognize. Like, that wasn't my story. That wasn't my narrative. And it was as if my voice had been taken away. It was like, I couldn't speak for myself. Others were speaking for me and telling a story about me that I didn't recognize. And I don't know whether any of you have ever experienced that. But if you have, then I'm sure you can appreciate how alienating and almost shameful it is to have stories being told about you that you don't recognize and that you don't feel to be true. And so, bottom line, I was blessed with the opportunity to write my own book and tell my own story and really add to the narrative about what it is to be a convert, what it is to be a Muslim woman. And my book, From My Sister's Lips, was published by Random House, and it was put out there, and I was on TV, on the radio, and all over the place, okay? And I guess that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate today about helping women and men own their story, because I know the power of a narrative that comes from a place of authenticity. And so, my dear friend, if you want to write a book and you have a story to tell and you have a message to share, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be about challenges you faced growing up, or triumphing in your business, or your own systems that you share with your clients, or new ideas about how to do things, about how to be married, how to raise children. Whatever it is that you want to share with the world, know this: there is not a single person out there who can tell your story like you can. There is not a single person out there that can share your message like you can. And that's where the ownership comes in, because for many of us, the only thing holding us back from speaking our truth is ourselves. Yes, I said it. We are the ones holding us back. Our fears, our doubts, our questioning of ourselves. Am I good enough? Is this relevant? Will anyone read it? Do I have anything relevant to say? So I want to invite you, in this short time that we have together, to really receive my message. And my message is that every single one of you has a story to tell, has a message on your heart to share. And it should be out in the world, doing what it's supposed to do. It shouldn't be in here. It shouldn't be just in here. And it shouldn't just be on social media, I'm sorry. It should be thought through and laid out and put into a format that can really transform lives. And I'm not just talking about 10 lives, I'm not just talking about 100 lives, I'm talking about thousands and tens of thousands of people who are reading your words and are being impacted by your words, because every single person that is impacted by your story has their own circle of influence. And so when they are impacted by your story, guess what happens? The people around them are impacted too. And every single person in that circle of influence has their own circle of influence. And so as they are impacted, so they impact their own circle. And that's how your book your story, your message, rippling out from that authentic place out to every reader and every reader's family and every reader's colleagues and every reader's community and every reader's society, starts to change the world. This is how it works. You receive the fact that you have a story to tell, and that story has value, and there are people out there right now suffering because they need to hear what you have to say. And once you own your right to tell the story, you own the fact that you have value to share, that you have an important message for the world, after you've owned that, it's time to make a decision. Because the decision is the thing that changes everything. It's not enough to have a thought. It's not enough to have a dream. It's not enough to have a goal. If you want to close like a champion on making the impact with your message that you were born to make, you have to make a decision. So I invite all of you in this moment to just say out loud, I give myself permission to share my message. Go ahead. I give myself permission to share my message. I give myself permission to tell my story. I give myself permission to be amazing. I give myself permission to make real impact. And I give myself permission to change the world with my story. And so I invite you to keep saying that, to make a decision, because this is from my own experience. There are few things as beautiful as when someone comes up to you and says, thank you, thank you, thank you. Your book changed my life. And this is not marketing speak, this is not salesy speak, this is reality. The work that we do when we come from that authentic place changes people's lives. And if we're changing people's lives, then we are the change that we want to see. Then we are impacting the world in a positive way. And so every single one of you, please, if you take nothing from my talk, remember that Sister Naima said this: every one of you has a story to tell. All you need to do is give yourself permission and make a decision. And you will find the doors opening for you. Once you've made the decision, and once this is the path that you're on, you will see the doors starting to open for you. And at the end of the day, as they say, there are two things guaranteed in life, right? Death and taxes. And so know this: when you die, your Facebook posts won't last. Your Instagram posts won't last either. The algorithm will change, the platforms will change. Your blog posts will be lost in the bowels of the internet. But your book that you wrote from the heart, that you wrote from a place of authenticity, that you wrote to make an impact, becomes a part of your legacy. That is one of the few things that remains after you're gone, cannot be changed, cannot be messed with, cannot be sullied. That is your love letter to the world, to this generation and to future generations. And so, if you know that you were born to make that impact, then I invite you to make that declaration. I own my story, and I'm ready to change the world. And I will see you at the top. This is your sister, Naima B. Robert, your sister on the journey, signing out, looking forward to seeing you on the other side of your impact. Bye for now.